Okay, let us begin. So in the last class, we had discussed so far about some other effects on the power system, about power factor, the natural frequency of TRV. Okay. So today we will start about some new topics, which is called actually current chopping. Okay. Now this current chopping phenomena will eventually occurs more frequent when you want to trip a unloaded transformer, or if you want to go switching for the capacitor bank, large capacitor bank, then often you have to encounter with this current chopping phenomenon. Okay. Now, first of all, what is current chopping phenomenon? So you need to understand that things. So current chopping phenomena occurs when you want to interrupt very low inductive current and low magnetizing current. Okay. And the rapid deionization effect of this lower magnetizing current and capacitive current will cause the arc point interruption before the current naturally reaches to zero. So first of all, you need to understand that what is low magnetizing current. Okay, this phenomenon will often encounter to you when you want to switch on or when you want to trip an unloaded transformer. Okay, so let me give you some idea about that. So let's say this is a transformer. The secondary side is open. Okay, the secondary terminal is open. So how much current will flow through the primary winding? That's the issue. So you know that turn ratio, if I say let's say voltage here is V2, voltage here is V1. Okay, then this is, for example, I1. This is the primary current, or let's say this is IP, primary current. This is IS, secondary current. So if you can recall from the transformer turn ratio equations, it's like this, that V2 divided by V1 is equals to IP divided by IS is equals to K. Okay. So generally we can write down that primary current divided by secondary current is equals to turn ratio. And from there, you know that primary current is actually directly proportional to the secondary current. Okay. So we can come up to the conclusion like this. But so if you take a closer look at this transformer terminal, so the secondary terminal is open. So if the secondary terminal is open, so eventually the value of IS becomes 0. So in associated from this equation, we can come out this that primary current is also 0. So in that case, we consider that we do not have to headache about the circuit breaker on the primary side, but this is the approximations. Okay, now do you have any question after this, guys? Are you getting my point here?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me? Are you getting my point? So according to this principle, the primary current is totally 0. But what happens when you want to can you remember the equivalent circuit of the transformer from your machine courses? Isn't it like this? Can you recall here? So this is the primary current, IP, and this is the secondary current. Okay. And there is another current that is actually sometimes known as no load current, or this is actually purely inductive current. This current is necessary for the transformer to make the core ready. to carry the magnetic fluxes that will produce due to the supply in the primary winding. You know these principles, okay? So this is the no load component. So if you take a closer look at this circuit diagram now, the secondary terminal is open, okay? But still, you have a closed path in this way. That means the decision that we came out a little bit earlier, that if the secondary terminals becomes zero, or the current at the secondary terminal is zero, the primary current is also zero. That is no longer been valid here, okay? Because the no load component okay, now take a closer look. The secondary terminal is open here. So now no current is flowing through the secondary terminal, but there will be a current in the primary winding because the transformer core will have to carry or will have to draw this no load component current. Okay, this is the magnetizing current which is needed to make the core ready for carrying the magnetic fluxes, and this is mainly responsible for overcoming the hysteresis loss. You know this stuff from your machine courses. Can you recall? Guys, can you recall?
Yes, sir.
So from there, you see, from this equivalent circuit diagram, we can simply say that if in case of unloaded transformer, if the primary winding is open, I'm sorry, if the secondary terminal is open, the primary current is not zero. In fact, the primary current is equivalent to the magnetizing current. Okay. The primary current is equivalent to the magnetizing current. So that is the low inductive current we are talking about, or magnetizing current. Okay. Now what happens when you want to trip the circuit breaker under these circumstances? So we want to discuss those things under this current chopping phenomena. Okay. So that means you have a transformer over here. Okay. The circuit breaker is actually connected in the both side of the transformer. Let's say this is 230 kV by 130 kV. Okay, high voltage transformer. Let's say so somehow due to some abnormal situations, this circuit breaker is open. Let's say this is circuit breaker 2. This circuit breaker is open. Now you want to check that what happens to the transformer. So you want to send some maintenance people over here to check the condition of the transformer. So before you start maintaining or before you start checking the transformer conditions, this circuit breaker must be tripped off, because it is still in. If this side has power, do not think that this transformer is now harmless. Though, for example, this is side 2, though the circuit breaker at the side 2 is open, but still some amount of power is connected to the side 1. That means this transformer is not completely de-energized, rather than it is still energized by the supply from the power sources connected from the side 1. So you have to make sure the safety of the maintenance people. So what you need to do, you need to trip off this circuit breaker also, so that the total transformer is isolated from the system, de-energized conditions, and the transformer is quite safe for the maintenance one or for the checking purpose. Okay. So now whenever you try to trip this circuit breaker 1 under this consideration, when the circuit breaker the side 2 is open, so then the current chopping phenomena will occur. What happens? First of all, this is circuit breaker. Whenever you are trying to open this circuit breaker, you know that electric arc will form. Obviously, whenever you want to interrupt some current, then obviously there will be an electric arc. Okay, so that arc current has to be extinguished. Okay, now due to the pure inductive nature, this arc current will be 90-degree phase difference from the voltages. So this is the voltages like this, for example. This is the voltages like this. okay, and this is the current waveform or corresponding the arc current. As the current is pure no load current or pure inductive current, you are already observing that this current is 90-degree phase difference from the voltage source. Okay, are you getting this point, guys? Are you getting this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now what is happening here? Whenever normally you are supposed to interrupt this arc current at 0 point. You are supposed to interrupt this arc current at 0 point, or you can simply say that whenever this current is naturally zero, whenever this current is naturally zero at this point, let's consider at this point, you are supposed to extinguish the electric arc. But the problem is that this low magnetizing current has very small, very low magnitude. Okay, so now due to this low magnitude current, the circuit breaker will eventually will try to interrupt this current before it is reaching naturally zero. That means before appearing the zero, the circuit breaker will assume some point as zero and will start forcefully interrupting the electric arc. All right. So this phenomenon is actually known as current chopping. What is current chopping? Simply whenever you are trying to interrupt a low magnetizing or capacitive current, so you know the electric arc is formed and that electric arc has to extinguish when it reaches to natural 0 point. But due to the low magnitude in nature of this current and 90-degree phase difference, the circuit breaker will eventually will start the extinguishing the electric arc before it reaches to natural zero. Okay, so this simple phenomena is known as current chopping. All right, have you got the point, guys?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any question?
No, sir, my sir.
You sure about that, right?
Sure, sir.
Okay, now why we are so cautious about this current chopping? Okay, now due to this current chopping, you see a voltage waveform is given here. Okay, so you know that after extinguishing the electric arc, a high frequency voltage component appears across the contact space of the circuit breaker, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And that voltage is simply known as TRV. Okay, so you see, if you take a closer look at this point, at this point you have extinguished the electric arc before it naturally becomes zero. Okay, and at this point system voltage is quite large. So due to this quite large system voltage, a high frequency TRV will appear here. As the current is purely inductive current, so the frequency of this TRV will be very, very high. Okay, so this high frequency TRV will eventually try its best to restrike the electric arc. In fact, it is generally observed that if you do not consider any precautions, this current chopping phenomena eventually finishes with the restriking of the electric arc. Okay, understood or not? Now, this restriking of the electric arc will eventually create another problem for you. What kind of problem? Due to this restriking of electric arc, definitely arc current will continue in the same way like it was, isn't it? In the same way. All right. Now, whenever the arc current follows like this, the current chopping will eventually occur again. And due to this current chopping, again another high frequency component voltage will appear here, or high frequency TRV will appear here. The high frequency TRV will again restrike the electric arc. So in this way, if your circuit breaker experiences and restriking of electric arc more than 2-3 times, then eventually this circuit breaker will be damaged. All right, so you cannot allow this phenomena across the circuit breaker, that the circuit breaker is interrupting, then again current chopping happening, then again restriking of electric arc, then again current chopping happening. So in this way, if the circuit breaker experiences 2-3 times of restriking of electric arc, then eventually the whole circuit breaker is at risk. Okay, so you need to take some precautions under these considerations. What kind of precautions are we talking about? I'm going to discuss with you. But if you have any question up to this, you can raise a question so that I can answer. Do you have any question?
Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Sir, can you make again how frequency is changed in the two figures, sir?
Frequency is changed. No,
Yes, sir.
frequency is not changed. You know, this due to this current interruption or due to this electric arc interruption, we are considering that this interaction process actually made made the electric arc zero. Okay. Now you know that whenever the electric arc extinguishes, after that, before appearing of this normal system voltage, a high frequency TRV will appear there. Okay. And as this current is purely inductive current, the frequency of the TRV will be very, very high. So as the frequency of this TRV becomes very high, the rate of rise of this TRV is very high. And due to this high rate of rise of TRV, restriking will occur here. Okay. Now, whenever restriking occurs, again electric arc formed. Again, you need to extinguish the electric arc, and whenever you are trying to do that, your circuit breaker is interrupting that electric arc before it is reaching to zero. Okay.
Yes,
Understood
sir.
or not?
Yes, sir. Understand now, sir.
Any other question? Any other question, guys?
No question, sir.
Are you good so far?
Yes, sir. Go for us, sir.
Okay, so far we have understood that we cannot open a circuit breaker of the unloaded transformer just like that. All right. So we have to take some precautions. We have to take some measurements. What are those things? Let us discuss. One measure of preventing the oscillations of this high frequency component is to provide some damping. All right. If you want to provide, if you can provide some damping across this contact space of the circuit breaker, then due to this transition of the high frequency, the oscillation can be prevented, which actually indicates that the frequency of this TRV can be controlled. The frequency of this TRV can be controlled. How we can control that? By simply adding a parallel damping resistance across it. So this resistance is known as opening resistor, or sometimes this whole phenomenon is known as resistance switching. Okay. So whenever you feel that a excessive high frequency TRV may appear across the contact space of the circuit breaker, during the fault clearing process, you always have to consider to provide some damping over there. This damping can be provided by some external resistance that will be feed before, or eventually it can provide by another means, which is by connecting very, very large machines, okay, in the system, so that the prevention, that the oscillations due to this high frequency is prevented. Whenever the frequency becomes very high, the oscillatory component is also very high. Okay. So if you can neutralize this oscillatory frequency component, or if you can neutralize the TRV high frequency component, then eventually TRV will not create any problem. You cannot ignore TRV. You cannot suppress TRV. TRV will appear. But as we have discussed so far, that the main frequency component of the TRV, which actually creates bigger problem in our fault interruption process. Okay. So if we can control the frequency, eventually TRV vanishes within half cycle and the process becomes easier. Understood? Got the point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what do you do? We provide a parallel resistance in connections of the circuit breaker. So this is known as opening resistor or switching resistor. So the purpose of this opening resistor and switching resistor is to control the frequency of the TRV that appears after the arc extinction. Okay. And if you vary this if you vary this resistance at some value of this resistance, the value of the frequency becomes 0. That particular value of this resistance is known as damping resistance of the damping resistance. Okay, that has been also written over here. That has been also written over here. Okay, so normally this is achieved by adding another switch across this path. So in normal cases, this switch is open. Whenever fault occurs, before opening this circuit breaker, this switch has to be closed. Okay, so now there is two advantages in that way. You are splitting the fault current into two paths, so that means the braking capacity across this main circuit breaker contact will be a little bit reduced. Okay, understood or not? And fault current in this path will not create any bigger problem because you already have a high resistance in this path. Okay, so whenever this circuit breaker is opening, an electric arc will form over here, and you know that this resistance appears across the parallel of the contact of the circuit breaker. This appearance of this parallel resistance will help you to prevent the oscillations, of the TRV, or you can simply say to prevent the frequency of the TRV. Okay, now whenever the frequency of the TRV is controlled or reduced, that means the rate of rise of TRV is also reduced, and by the reduction of the rate of rise of the TRV, you can simply control the effect of the TRV, which was supposed to restrict the electric arc. Okay, understood? Guys, do you have any question?
No, sir.
Anyone, do you have any question up to this?
No, sir.
You sure?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to end today. I will take another class today, maybe from 4 p.m. Do you have any question? Do you have any problem on that time? 4 p.m. Can you do another class 4 p.m.?